So I feel very honored to be able to talk about it because it's been hard work for a lot of folks. I do want to particularly call out, I'm not sure if he's outside still giving a demo, but Hanny, Hanny's right there. Hanny is the product manager of the product that we launched today. It is his baby. He does have 2 sons, but this is his 3rd. I'm going to step through it. Before I get into the product we launched today, I'll give you just zoom out a little bit. And so I've been in the EV space for 15 years. This is the single thing I've learned in the 15 years. Successful EV adoption requires telematics. My background and the team that was acquired by Geotab that forms the Geotab, the starting folks from the Geotab EV team, were all trained as automotive engineers on how to design electric vehicles. That is our background. And for the first couple of years, we worked on designing electric vehicles, and we learned this to be true. And we said, well, there's a lot of engineers focused on making good electric vehicles. There's not a lot of engineers focused on the telematics part for EVs. And so now that's what we exclusively focus on because you can adopt EVs without telematics, but the first word won't be true. You're going to spend way too much money, and you're going to hit your toe on way too many problems if you don't have telematics. So if you only take one thing from this presentation, please take that. Now, if you do take more than just that, within Geotab, our responsibility is to help fleets go from 1 to 100% electric seamlessly. And so our product portfolio is set up like that, because what a fleet manager needs to go from 0 to 1% electric, or 1 to 5% electric, or 5 to 20% electric, or 20 to 100% electric is different. They need different solutions at different stages in their EV journey, and we are working on making sure that we have the right product portfolio to help a fleet manager go that entire direction. That will take time. It's got to be deliberate, and we're trying to make sure we can meet them at every step in their journey. Today, the product we launched today is the first part. So when a fleet is between sort of 0 and 20 to 30% electric, the suitability assessment that I'll be presenting today is extremely important. Once a fleet goes 30% electric, they have a lot of ingrained knowledge in that fleet about where EVs work, where they don't, and so they don't need suitability after that. They still run at the odd time, but it's not critical. But then as they run EVs in their fleet, they need the data to run that fleet efficiently. They need to know if that vehicle's come back to depot and hasn't been plugged in. They need to know when it's charging, where it's charging. They need to have automated alerts to run that fleet efficiently. And so that's the operate electric. And then once they get enough electric vehicles, you get a whole new problem, which you start having too much load at a building and you need to manage it. So again, that's a set of solutions that we need. That is not a set of solutions that most fleets need today. They don't have nearly enough EVs to be hitting that problem. But they will hit it, and we'll make sure that we have the right solutions and integrations to help them through it. So we're focused on 1, 2, 3, but what we launched today was the first one. It's what fleets need as they start to go electric. And so what it does, what the suitability assessment does, is it pulls off the data off your gas, petrol, your diesel vehicles, and says, if those vehicles were electric today, if we look at the last 3 months of data, and you bought 5 electric vehicles and you drove them, shadowed the operation of your petrol and diesel vehicle, would the EV have done the job, and would it have saved you money? Because if the EV will do the job and it will save you money, why wouldn't you go electric? Right? And so it's not for your entire fleet. If you have 1,000 vehicles, this helps find those 125 spots where you could go electric today. And that's really what it is. And so it takes about 5 minutes to launch an analysis, takes about an hour to compute, but you can go off, do whatever you want during that hour and come back to a nice result. You can even work on your machine on something else. So are you ready to see what it looks like? We're going to walk through it. So I say it takes about 5 minutes. You're going to see me walk through it. You're going to see a screen capture of me in my hotel room yesterday running a suitability assessment upstairs. I'm familiar with the suitability assessment. This is not the first time I've seen it, so it may look like I'm going through it quickly. I also don't want to overinvest a bunch of time, but you will see all the steps involved. So, in my Geotab, you click on the EVSA add-in. I said, I want to run an EVSA. I then say, okay. Of course, always a set of problems as you go. So it's actually being stepped through. It's right at the end of this. So I'm going to wait for this to be done. It's not this fast. There's a couple steps before this, but the GIF started halfway through. So I'm going to go back. We'll see if this works. No, yeah. Okay, here we go. So you go in the EVSA, you start the assessment. You say, okay, I want to start one. You pick the country. I pick Spain. It shows you the vehicles that are available in Spain and loads country defaults. This is where you pick which vehicles in the fleet you want to analyze to replace with electric and which EVs you want to consider. In this case, I picked all the vehicles in my fleet, and I said I want to look at all the cars and all the SUVs. I didn't want to look at the light electric vans. That's an option within it. How long do I keep my vehicles for? 7 years. I purchased them. Again, a bunch of preloaded defaults have all been loaded that are Spanish defaults because I picked the Spanish country. And I said, go. Goes back to the screen. It says, okay, I'm computing. Go have lunch. Literally, that screenshot you saw was me walking through every single step to start an EVSA. So if you were counting, it took 46 seconds, barring my mistake with the GIF and starting halfway through. So it took 46 seconds, of which the final 5 seconds were me forgetting to stop the screenshot. So in 41 seconds, you can start analyzing your fleet. If you have 5,000 vehicles, in 41 seconds, you can say, preload all the country defaults, show me all the vehicles, the vans and the cars, and tell me which of my vehicles could go electric today. And then this is sort of our equivalent of Rahul's like cucumber sorter, right? Let the machines do the heavy lifting. Right now, it takes about an hour. The machines are going to run through. They're going to analyze the fleet. They're going to in software drive EVs on those routes for that 3-month period and say, how did they work? And you could be off enjoying a lunch, or you can do other work, and you come back to it. And when you come back to it, you'll see this. So what you would have seen in the last image of the GIF was the bottom left was orange. It said, machines are running, please come back later. When you come back later, it's green, saying your results are ready. And so in this example that I ran yesterday, I analyzed the database for one of our internal Geotab offices, 56 vehicles in that fleet. 8 of them could go electric successfully today. So it's not all the vehicles, right? There's 8 of the 56 that could go electric today where the EV would do the job and the EV would save them money. Now, I do want to caveat, the release we're launching today is very intentionally cautious about recommending EV. We want to ensure fleets go electric successfully, and so we're making sure that this initial version that we're launching is very cautious about making an EV recommendation. So when we're looking to see, would an EV have done the entire day and got back to the end of the day without needing any public charging, we're assuming that the vehicle is a little less efficient than what we normally see that electric vehicle to be in the real world. And we also say, would that vehicle have been able to do that longest day in that 3-month period if it was minus 7 degrees out? I looked at the average daily forecast for Lisbon. That is an extremely cold temperature for here. It's extremely cold for most of Europe. So we're deliberately being risk averse, because if we tell you that an EV is a good spot for a replacement, we want to make sure you can do that with extreme comfort. So if we look at a fleet of 1,000 vehicles and we actually think there's 250 spots that can go electric, we're being extra cautious and only recommending maybe 150 spots because we're adding these. In future releases, we'll let you decide how risk averse you want to be, but right now we're really making sure that if we make that recommendation, it's extremely solid. Apologies, it's a bit of an eyesore, but in that you can then get to look at what actually are the impacts on my fleet. So the top left is cost. If I convert to EVs in these specific 8 spots versus if they were all thermal vehicles or combustion vehicles, what does it look like? What's the capital cost? What's the maintenance cost? What's the energy cost? It shows you the stack. That's the top left. The bottom left is specifically looking at energy. That's your liquid fuel and your electricity. And then the top right is your carbon emissions, and so your CO2. And so the top right, this is not doing the embedded emissions and creating the vehicle. If you want to do that, you can very much add it. You can download the results, add whatever you'd like. Within that, we are including the upstream emissions of electricity. So you're getting the full life cycle emissions of the fuel. So in this specific analysis, that I ran yesterday, I did not cherry pick this. I ran analysis yesterday. I'm showing you the results. The EV recommendations can reduce the cost by 2%. Not massive, but we can reduce annual energy costs by 30%, and we can reduce your emissions by 48%. We can cut the fleet's emissions in half while saving them money. Albeit not a ton of money, but if you have a greenhouse gas reduction plan and people are telling you you have to spend more to reduce your emissions, this result directly contradicts that. So please let us help you save money in your fleet while meeting your emissions targets. That's an and, not an or. And you can do that right if you're putting EVs in the right spot. So reduce emissions and costs. What does it actually look like on the vehicle recommendation? So that top vehicle, Stevens Clan, Amanda is my wife. She is very happy when I sent this to her yesterday. We apparently are going car shopping. Apparently we should be buying a Kia Niro I didn't show up because I already drive an EV. So this is showing that if my wife replaces her current vehicle with a Kia Niro, it will do the job and will save about 3,000 euros over the life cycle with the Spanish defaults. You can see all the vehicles listed. But now, again, you saw me run it. I'm showing you results from the analysis that I ran that took 42 seconds to kick off. But now we loaded defaults and you want to go in and you want to start playing. You want to customize to your numbers, right? Because we got you a good result initially, but it's not quite right for you. You want to tweak, you want to adapt. What if your country has an incentive? What if your city has an incentive? What if all of a sudden your organization says, look, yes, we would love to deploy EVs where they will cost less for us to operate, but over the life cycle of the vehicle, we're actually willing to spend an extra 2,000 euros to go electric, right? So how do you do that in the system? I'll show you how to do it. You go into the result, you go to the top right, EV premium, you click in 3,000 and the numbers recompute. So all of a sudden it's 8 plug-in hybrids. So before it was 4 full electric, 4 plug-in hybrids, now it's 4 full electric, and 8 plug-in hybrids. So again, now what if you actually don't want to own the vehicle? You normally own vehicles for 7 years. You want to say what happens if you do 8 years? Very easy way. So you can see, so actually in the GIF, I went over into the procurement information. I clicked on number 1. It said, how long do you own your vehicles for? I changed 7 to 8. I hit OK. It immediately took me back to this screen in about a second and said, OK, now 6 plug-in hybrids make sense. So rather than 4 plug-in hybrids, it was 6 if you own the vehicle for 1 more year. Literally took 5 seconds to change that. What if an OEM says, I really want to sell you my vehicle. I want to give you a special price. Yes, MSRP is this, but I want to give you a discounted price. Well, you quickly go into change vehicle settings, you change it to the new number, you hit calculate result, and it re-updates for you, and now there's 12. Now, there's 2 EVs and 12. You'll notice what I just did there. So before it was 2 and 12 and then 4 and 10. So when I made one of the plug-in hybrids cheaper, it quickly reran the analysis and it recommended 12 EVs. So 8 of those were gas vehicles where now going plug-in hybrid was more cost-effective. 2 of those were battery electrics, where now the more cost-effective was the plug-in hybrid. And so I toggled the little prefer BEV, which says if the full electric and the plug-in hybrid are both better than the petrol or diesel, if they're both better, then pick the BEV. Right? And so I did that, and that's how you get the 4 out of 10. Again, really just trying to highlight 41 seconds, kick it off, go enjoy a coffee, go enjoy lunch, come back, and then you can easily customize this. You can change all the parameters. It's very, very customizable, but we try and start you off with good country defaults to make your life extremely easy. So again, 1, 2, 3. Spend the 1 to 5 minutes to kick it off. Go enjoy lunch, come back, start diving into the assumptions and say, okay, I want to change to my fleet. It's very easy. We are intentionally being robust and range careful. We're trying to only make recommendations where we feel extremely strongly that that EV will do the job. You will not have an operational issue. And most exciting, it is free. In the company that was acquired by Geotab that I was part of, we used to charge a lot for this. We used to charge upwards of about 10,000 euros to analyze a fleet. Now, if you're a Geotab customer, we give it to you for free. So I'm pretty happy to go to something where I had to charge a lot for, and now I give it to you at no cost, and you can see how quickly I can generate a result for you. So again, the key about the suitability assessment is the first part in the journey of a fleet going electric, and it really is key to helping make sure that the fleet can go electric successfully and with confidence. So they feel comfortable they are doing the right things, they are making the right decisions in their fleet, because going electric is not only about putting EVs where they should be in your fleet, going electric is also about not putting EVs where they shouldn't be. Right? It's both of those. And with this, we make sure that based on the fleet data we're seeing, we make that decision very easy for a fleet manager. So I love those quotes. It's probably one of my favorite quotes about the EV industry. It's from the past chairperson of Daimler. You know, electric mobility is that ketchup bottle upside down, where you don't know when that ketchup's going to come out, but when it comes out, it's coming out. So my best analogy of what the suitability assessment on that, it's the hand behind that is smacking the back of that bottle as hard as we can, because we are trying to get that ketchup out super quick, right? And so that's what we're trying to do with the suitability assessment. But then the fleet has to manage EVs. And so again, purpose of today was to talk to you about suitability assessment because it launched this morning. It's free. It's on the marketplace. It only requires base, so base, pro, pro plus, you can run EVSA for free. So we're trying to make this as easily and expandable for people to run this because we want the world to go electric successfully. And so we're trying to make it extremely easy for people to do it. So that's the Go Electric, that's the suitability assessment. When you run EVs, you need the data off them very, 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 very quickly. We spent a lot of time over the last year making sure the Go device knows how to talk to EVs, knows how to get the data off that you want, knows how to report that. If you want the EV data, you need to be on Pro Plus. For suitability assessment, base Pro, Pro Plus. For EV data on the EV, when you own the EV, Pro Plus. So this is real-time view. Anyone who's French in the office, in the room might understand my joke around the electric life of my personal vehicle. So real-time state of charge, if the vehicle is currently charging or not. You can set up a bunch of alerts around this. Automated alerts are extremely important to electrify successfully. And then the real-world fuel efficiency. It's a single view within your fleet, your petrol, your diesel, your hybrid, your electric, your hydrogen. We give you a single view of the efficiency across your entire fleet of all fuels. It's not a disjointed experience. It's a single experience. You can pick whatever units you want. If you want liters per 100 kilometer, mile per gallon, watt hour per kilometer, kilowatt hour per 100 mile, you pick. We don't care. It's all there. It's a single pane of glass. You get to look across your entire fleet. And then the second one is charge sessions. If you're used to liquid fuel, the fill-up report, where did every vehicle fill up? It's the same thing for charging. Where did every vehicle charge? What was the starting state of charge? What was the ending state of charge? How much energy was pulled? What was the load profile? All the kind of stuff. Not something that as a fleet starts to go electric they need, but as they get a lot of electric vehicles, they need this stuff. And we're making sure it's ready. So we were in Barcelona 11.2 months ago. We are a data company. We're precise. Wasn't 11 months, wasn't 12 months. It was 11.2 months ago that we were in Barcelona. Just to give you a context of what we're doing on EVs, a year ago, I was fortunate to be able to say, we're working on the suitability assessment. It's coming. Excuse me. 11.2 months later, it's launched. We didn't before tell you what our pricing model was going to be. It was known that we used to charge for it. We now provide it for free. If you have electric vehicles and you want the data off electric vehicles, 11.2 months ago, we said, look, there's these reports coming that will be really useful for you. Now they exist. Now they're available. They launched the middle of this year. A year ago, we had no EVs with full support. We had 7 EVs with partial support. This year, we have about 15 vehicles with full support, and we have an additional 42 includes the full. So we have an additional 27 that are in partial support, with a lot of those going to go to full support in the next couple weeks. We are making a massive investment within Geotab in making sure that we're ready for EVs. And so this is what we did in 11.2 months. I'm an extremely impatient guy. I wish we were going even faster, but this is a lot in the last 11.2 months, and we're very excited because especially that model supported is about to go much higher, much faster. Our marching orders from Neil is every single production vehicle in Europe and in North America must be supported by Geotab, must be fully supported by Geotab, and he's already told us that he's going to add other regions, but he's giving us the chance to make sure we support Europe and North America first, and then we'll expand. So, again, successful EV adoption requires telematics. You can adopt EVs without telematics. I have been in the space for 15 years. You will not be successful because you will spend way more money than you need to, and you will stub your toe on a lot of very common mistakes that telematics can help you avoid. I've tried to hit a couple of them, but successful EV adoption requires telematics. My continued employment is based on making sure the second continues to be true. My continued employment is focused on making sure that Geotab is the hands-down best leader on EVs in the world in telematics. And I can say with confidence, we do have a significant lead over all the other telematics systems, but we know that they're starting to ramp their investments. And so my job is to make sure the EV team is continuing to stay ahead of them, and we continue to add the things that the fleet managers need as the other guys try and play catch up. Because they will. The world's going electric. All telematics system will eventually have to support EVs. My job is to make sure we're way ahead of everyone else, and we support our resellers and our end clients in going electric successfully faster. So with that, there's my email. Love to connect. There are no questions, but if you have questions, please send me an email or grab me at lunch. Thanks a lot.